Serenity wins. We love the show so much we came to visit from planet Bushburger. Hey, welcome back to another edition. Hey, welcome people on TikTok too. I just got a whole bunch of hearts. I love that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's another edition of one of those Serenity wins. Episode number 15. And yes, if you happen to be watching also on the YouTube screen, and I'm not too jittery, it is, I changed it before I went on the recording. Hey, welcome. Welcome, Elizabeth. Welcome, Best. Welcome, Torque. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode. And I got a little special something for this. I was like, oh, by the way, just so you know, that this show, as much as I love to know that you guys are watching me, I really want to hear that you guys are listening to me. You're listening to me. So whatever it is you're doing, take your phone, put it next to you if you're cooking, put it next to you if you're gardening, if you're practicing some music, put the phone there, put it on your speakers, whatever. Figure out how to do with Sirius, Alexa, and all those things, those googly things, and just put it so it's in your ears more than in your face. Because as much as I'm in the process of living more humility, but I gotta say, I like how I look. I really do. As I touch the top of my head. Okay, so I ain't perfect, but I like it. Because before I really didn't like it, but now I like it. So keep tapping that hard. I love that, by the way. I love that. I'm also being recorded on TikTok. I'm starting to use that technology thing going on. So here's the thing that I want to do. I want to do. This is your captain speaking. We are now flying at altitude, and I'm feeling good. Yeah. All right, I totally screwed that. That's not what I wanted to say. Let me try that again. Because, that's the great thing about a podcast. I can actually do. I mean, I don't have a ton of sponsors yet, so I can still get away with some of that stuff. So this is actually what I wanted to do. And for the next ones, I'll have it better. Like, this is your captain speaking. We are now flying at altitude. It's a new day. It's a new dawn, and I'm feeling good. Hey, all right. I'm glad we got that out of the way. Did I mention you guys are supposed to listen to me and not watch me? I say this also. Truth be told, what do you mean the truth? Are you gonna start lying to me already? No, I'm aware that the last episodes that I've loaded on YouTube, because my internet is not able to lock on properly on my TikTok live studio, which I'm using to record, it's actually recording with a whole bunch of jittery. So when I do play back on YouTube, I see myself going. So, hey, keep on tapping. I love that. I got someone there watching me. I love that. So Torque 2015. Yes. Thanks, Torque. I really appreciate that. So, so that's it. So, I insist for you guys. Plus, I think that, I mean, if you take the time to watch the video, that means you're actually sitting down and just focusing on me. And as much as that's a huge compliment, don't get me wrong, I really want to know that people are able to do other stuff while they listen to me, because this way I know that they'll keep on putting me on and 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 on. And then they'll hear about either my crazy, I got some adventures I got to share with you. Yeah. So on and on and on and on and on, right? Because this is a working in process. This is growing. This is about my journey as a recovering alcoholic, transforming my life. And hey, who knows where this podcast could bring us? And who knows, So I just want to kind of be there, and then people decide if they want me to be there or not. But I know that I'm fulfilling a purpose doing this. So I hope you like it as much. And before I get right into it, get into the official blah blah blah. I was working. Yeah, you were working. Whoa, that's good. That's really good. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. I was working and I started writing kind of, because there's always like a written promo, because eventually, the show's like all over. I'm in a process of figuring out how to be on Spotify, so that's really good news. And so I was writing a new promo, like an opening kind of, teaser kind of thing. And I wanted to read it to you guys live. to hear what you have to say. Obviously, this is something that's written, but I figured if I can actually say it, live, and then you guys get to hear it, and then you say, "Oh, you should listen to this podcast." Blah blah blah. All right. So here's what I came up with this week because I'm always seeing how I can improve, and this is what I have, and I'm going to try to do it justice as I hear it in my head. Here we go. Are you all ready? Y'all ready? Y'all ready now? All right. When Trump, Christopher Watkins, Batman, and Sean Conery show up on our podcast, all bets are off. That same imaginative drive that brought me to drinking for over 20 years is now part of my recovering process. So why not invite Potus, Batman, and James Bond, oh, James, on my podcast? Join us as we laugh, smile, and ponder at life's mysteries, chuckle our failures, and rejoice our aha moments, and wonder what's life's next big reveal. A crazy date? A past life romantic encounter? An illicit, illegal, sexually charged proposal? Who knows? My show's about having the courage to transform my life when I almost lost everything. Perhaps an inspiration to some, a warning to others. This weekly true life experiment might help a co-dependent, be it alcohol, drugs, video games, food, or even sex. Oh, James, struggling to survive. With friends like Batman Trump and Vilnoosh, our savvy tech guy from Sri Lanka. Oh, thank you very much. We're sure to always keep it down to earth and fun with some wham, bam, KaPow! Well-deserved humor. Yes! All right. So, hey, by the way, I this week found a way to actually go and get comments. So leave your comments, especially if you're on YouTube. I know where to go and get them on YouTube. Well, no, I accidentally fell on them on YouTube, but that means I can go back again and again and again. So make sure you leave your comments. I was also explaining, and this is very important, even if you don't love the show. I mean, obviously, if you love the show, that's great. But say say you just heard me for the first time. It really helps because someone explained to me that the algorithm, the more there's like chats going on between videos, when you leave comments, the more YouTube recognizes that, and that kind of sends a signal somewhere. Is it the bat signal? I don't know. All right, Batman. I don't know if it's the bat signal, but it really helps out. So, if you want to do that, I'd really appreciate it. And if you're on TikTok too, why don't you go and check out Serenity Wins, the same as it's written on the TikTok, on the YouTube. And hey, why not click the subscribe button? Because you know what? It does help me. It does make a difference. All right. So that's enough of that blah, blah, blah. So today's episode is particularly called Finding Balance Between Autistic and Alcoholic, right? They both finish with ick. So now that we did that kind of opening presentation, I first want to thank you all for taking the time to watch, listen, join in, subscribe, do all those things. Hey, welcome, Chesley. I love Canadian flags. When I see Canadian flags, I'm like, yeah, I got to say hello to that. And as usual, my show about the spirituality and all, of course, there's Batman and there's James, but there's also some good stuff in here. And there's the first thing we start off with usually is the Serenity Prayer. Dear God, give me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change those that I can, and the wisdom to understand the difference between both. Yes, that is so important. The wisdom to understand both. Because sometimes you'd be like, yeah, I can't change the situation. And in fact, you can. You just choose not to, right? And then other times, like, I got to change the situation. And like, there really is not much you can do in this situation. So I love that prayer. And as you know, I give it at the beginning, and I also will give it at the end of the show. Now I'm really going to get into that serious official stuff because I think it's important. It's important for the show. It's important for the credibility. And most importantly, it's important for the movement. So, this podcast, Serenity Wins, is not at all affiliated, associated, or sponsored by any nonprofit organization such as, you guessed it, Alcoholics Anonymous. This is kind of the brainchild that happened from me. It's my promise to God that I would spread his word somehow. I didn't know what I really meant at the time, but I guess here I am. So we're not at all associated with Alcoholics Anonymous. Although I talk a lot about the 12 steps, although I'll share some personal and deep moments about my recovering, and perhaps along the way, I started meeting some individuals, and some of them are really at ease. They're like, yeah, you can use my name and everything. And although it's not their complete name, I find it more personal, instead of saying a member told me this or a member told, especially if it's a reoccurring member that they have a lot of wisdom. I really want to be able to say, Johnny B. Good told me this. All right, so now that I talked about the not being sponsored by a nonprofit organization, I want to take the time now, especially you guys right now on TikTok because you're live, to tell you about how we are sponsored by my client with this company called Cruiseaway, right? Like Robinson Cruiseaway, but it's at www.cruiseaway.ca. And you're going to see on my screen, there's a promo code SWD10. And you get that code. And when you go at cruiseaway.ca and you see something you love, well, when you get into that shopping cart, they're going to ask you for a code. Do you have a code? And then you could say, well, as a matter of fact, I do. I heard this amazing podcast by this really good looking guy with sunglasses. And he said I would get 10% discount with this promo code. And guess what? That's exactly what's going to happen. So make sure you take that code down. And hey, if you don't go right away, that's fine. You can go back a week from now, a month from now. You can go whenever you want. And if you want to save $1,000, guess what? All you got to do is buy $10,000 worth of stuff. There's really no limit to the imagination to what you can do. And it's really great furniture. It's Indonesian wood, mostly teak wood. So it's really nice, fancy. It really blends nicely in the living room. I have quite a bit because obviously he's my client. So I've been kind of stacking up on that. You can have it in the kitchen. There's kitchen tables, dining room tables. You have bedroom sets. If you want to put your tools in a fancy box or whatever, you can do that in the garage. You can do whatever you want. And so we're sponsored by Cruiso, and we're really proud of that. So just if you're watching on YouTube, just look at the screen at cruiseaway.ca, and you'll see SWD10, as in Serenity Wins discount 10%. Yes. So much talking. But you know what? I got to get used to it. That's part of kind of what I do, right? If I don't do the talking, then the show gets like less promotion. So we got to get that stuff out of the way. So we talked about being sponsored. We talked about not being officially associated. So now let's get into today's subject matter. And I actually have 3 topics. I don't know if we'll have time to do all of them simply because, well, as you know, now I've actually shortened. I used to do like 2-hour shows, which, by the way, was just as much fun. I did realize, however, that perhaps someone listening to a 2-hour show, they kind of get lost when they come back to it. Like, where was I? So I've reduced it to about an hour. And I say about an hour because usually at the 60 minutes, like, oh, okay, I got to wrap this up. And then I probably have another 2 or 3 minutes, right? Can you join? Willie? Well, what? I don't know you, Willie. I got to know you first. If you want, I'm talking to someone on TikTok, of course. Willie, I tell you what, you send me a message. Let me get me to know you, to know that you're not some sort of deranged mental deficiency creation of your own imagination, and that you're actually a very decent human and kind human being. And I'll be happy. This is actually something that I'm looking for. Vilnoosh. Oh, that's my name. Thank you very much. Vilnoosh, how are we going to get people to be doing interviews with us? Oh, well, I am from Sri Lanka, and I say we're going to get the servers to serve you. Yes, thank you very much. We're going to get the servers. Okay, I know we're going to get the servers to serve me, right? That's what a server does. Oh, well, then, sometimes they serve wine, sometimes they serve little bits of foods, but okay, I get it. But this is very technical too, but come back later. All right, we'll come back later, Vilnoosh. So exactly. We're gonna work on having that whole interview thing because I'm meeting some wonderful people, some very talented artists, and I certainly want to have them on the show. And that's it. Speaking of having interviews and people on the show, remember how I've been talking about finding a co-producer? Well, I just want to send out into the universe that I'm not only am I talking with someone. No, I don't want to advance myself. I've met someone. I've told them about the idea, and we're actually supposed to meet. I shouldn't say supposed. We're meeting for coffee this week. So to me, that's like already a huge step. I've already sent out in the universe now for about a few months now. I got to meet a producer. I got to do this. I got to do that. And so I'm going to have my first tete-a-tete. Is that the expression? Tete-a-tete. Ah, thanks for the rose. Oh, it's from Frank. Frank. Thanks, man. And we're going to be talking about the process of getting this show produced. Because obviously I'm not a tech guy, and I'm not too sure about Vilnoosh. What do you mean you're not too sure about me? I can do, the servers they serve. We got that. I got that, Vilnoosh. It's all good. What about me? I got a whole bunch of bad equipment. I could help you with the show. No, Batman, you're just too busy saving the world from I don't know what. I'm just saying, I have a lot of money and a lot of resources. I got it. I got magnificent people working. I lost that. Where did Trump go? I don't know. He was there and then he kind of just flew out of your mouth and then he turned into something. We don't exactly know what that was, but all right. So all this to say that we're in the process. There's also Fred, right? Fred. And we were supposed to meet this week, and it didn't happen. So I'm thinking this week, the week coming, we're going to meet, and we're going to talk more about that Twitch thing and, the technology stuff. Wow, that's a lot of talking, my friend. Why don't you just get right into it? Okay, so the first topic. It kind of makes me laugh, but at the same time, I think it's related to, quote unquote, being an alcoholic. And it's something that my ex-girlfriend, my last ex, would say once in a while. And I thought it was funny. But then I was like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, maybe. Not that I think that I am, but here's a topic. Am I autistic or am I an alcoholic? It's a serious question. Now, maybe even if I define that was autistic, although I don't really feel that I'm autistic, I think I'm just slightly different than many, and I have been all my life. And I think that's probably somewhere based on how I was raised and kind of the things that I had to do. And one of the things I had to do as a child, as a very young child, and maybe other dependent people will realize this or relate to this, it's that sense of survival very young. So you have no choice. Actually, you don't even think about it. It just kind of happens naturally. You begin to recognize patterns. And this is something that I've done all my life. And it's only now, through some of the work that I'm doing, that I recognize that as a skill. It's actually, to me, it's a good thing to recognize. It's when I used to do stand-up a long time ago, not that I did that much stand-up, but recognizing patterns was certainly both. What do you mean both, Francois? Both. I don't, but both. Tu veux faire le podcast avec moi? Both. I don't, sorry, I got a little interruption there. Okay, so all this to say that I had no, okay, both. Like I'm autistic and an alcoholic. I didn't recognize that pattern there, Frank, but yeah, maybe I'm both. Maybe I'm autistic. I'm an autistic alcoholic. I was joking with someone very dear to me yesterday. We'll call her O. And, the whole, I can count matches. Like you can drop a whole bunch of matches so I said, drop like, 350. And she's like, and then of course there's no matches there. It was all in my imagination, but like 350, but there's actually only 2 matches there. So anyways, at the time it was funny. Obviously it's not funny now, but happy birthday, Canadian guy. Woo! Yeah, welcome. All right, I'm just all over the place. I mean, maybe that's also being part of autistic or an alcoholic. So going back to recognizing patterns, it's a survival mode. And sometimes you bring it to an extreme. And other times it's like, okay, there's a fine line. So one of the things that my ex would describe me as being, is because not that I was intense, but I had discipline. And I think there's a difference between autistic and having discipline. And where discipline comes from mostly was the fact that in much younger, I had no discipline and it was very chaotic. And maybe one reason why we were together, but we weren't getting along that well was because she had a chaotic way of living. And so she was very comfortable with that. And I had lived like that, a few decades ago. But no longer do I want to live in chaos. I want calm and peace. I want to be zen. I want to be zen. And now, listen to your heart. And you're slowly beginning to fall. All right. So, not that zen, and especially not during Serenity Winds. Hey, welcome, Cludy, Cludow, Buntos, and 123 GT. I can't pronounce names, but hey, you know what? I'm sending it out there to the TikTok people. And it's essential, especially, and this one goes out specifically to the struggling folks out there, alcoholics or dependency or whatever. We need discipline. Because without discipline, it's a free-for-all. It's all bets are off. Ain't going to be there. Going to rock it in the mind. He's in the mind. He's going to his imagination. Go his imagination. Oh, he's going to beat him. And then you're like, whoa, what's going on? I'm completely lost. So discipline is actually what helps me survive. And therefore, if you're listening to this, and if you take it 24 hours at a time, also remember discipline. And start off with the little things. Like, I woke up this morning and I made my bed. Not because I had to, not because I had a female guest over, just because I wanted to. Because when I make my bed, it sends a signal to my brain, hey, I have enough time and life is so good, I can do my bed. Now, where some of the autistic might come in is that this afternoon, I took a nap. I did. And that's fine. Hey, thanks, Mason. While I took a nap, when I got out of bed, I left my bed undone, right? Not a big deal. I took the nap, And about half an hour, let me take a glass of water there. About half an hour before the show, I said, oh, I got to make my bed. So I made my bed, and I could see, from the studio. I'm in the cockpit, by the way. This is what I call the studio now. I call it the cockpit. Don't use the word cock too often there because people might think, no, I know, but it's like the cockpit because I literally have to squeeze in between a chair. I got to put the microphone. Then I got like the dashboard. I got like cameras. I got this. I got that. I got a whole tableau de bord going on. This is your captain speaking. We're now flying at altitude. It's a new day. It's a new dawn, and I'm feeling good. Yep. So I had to do my bed. And it's not like it was an option in my head. It was like, you know what? You talk about discipline, and obviously now you're going to do the show, and you probably need some discipline to do the show. Some discipline. That's all right. That's not it. Yeah. Some. You're not going to do it. You're going to, well, it's hot. It's good. I got podcast. Yeah. There's some discipline to do all those crazy. And no, don't forget me. Neither to go to. All right. Some discipline in the sense that I need to, keep that direction going, to make sure that those of you gardening and cooking and fixing the car, oh yeah, you could be in the garage. You can be in the garage, tweaking on your car, on your Mustang 67 with the ratchet. You could be doing all kinds of things while you're listening to the podcast. I do need some sense of direction and vision, and that takes some discipline. And that's why I said, you know what? That same discipline is going to make me do my bed. And so I did it, even though it was 6:30, 6:45. I was like, yeah, well, whatever. And so it's little things like that people might have a tendency once in a while to say, oh, this guy's autistic. Or, am I an alcoholic? Because as alcoholics, we have obsessions. We do have obsessions. And I thought I was alone. I thought I was the only guy that had, today I was talking with a member, and he'll remain a member because I haven't spoken to him yet about, hey, can I use part of your letters of your name? And he's a very cool member, by the way. I have a lot of respect for him. And he said, and I said, well, how's your week? And he goes, damn, I said, it's a pretty good week, but I've been having these obsessions and I can't get it out of my head. And he didn't go into details of what the obsession was. He just said, I have an obsession and I can't get it out of my head. And as soon as he said that, I remembered my Wednesday. My Wednesday was can I say, Joe, if you're out there listening, I had a fuck nut day on Wednesday. It really was. And it's only at the end, like 20 minutes before I actually went to bed, that I said, oh, okay. But I was obsessed. I was like, what's going on? My obsession in itself was particularly about, why am I not having a good day? Why do I feel like this? And the answer is because I had to. Because what I discovered 20 minutes before finally falling asleep, going to bed, was that, hey, you know what? You know what, bub? You've been having a lot of 24 hours where you're serene. Eh? Tweet, 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 tweet. Well, that doesn't sound like a bird. That's like, oh no, she's dying out. Okay, it's clearly not the bird. That's really not serenity right there. Oh no, I smudged my sunglasses. Oh, I put my hand in sunglasses now, and I got the smudge in there and everything. All right. Note to myself: do not put hands in the sunglasses. Did it really do a smudge? I'm not too sure. Okay, so anyway, all this to say that, I had an obsession and I couldn't get out of my head, and I kind of let it affect my day. But that was also part of the lesson in itself, because at the end of the day, I understood that, hey, you know what? So you have one bad day. So maybe the next time I have a bad day, instead of getting all worked up and saying, why am I having a bad day? I'm not allowed. Like, I was almost literally telling myself I didn't have the right to have a bad day. Because here's the thing. And I'm sure a lot of people who are struggling or who are in the movement, or the fellowship, let's call it it's the fellowship. That's how they call it in English, the fellowship, which I prefer, to tell you the truth. So once you're in the fellowship and you've been doing the program, and say you have even 6 months or even a year. Today we had a wonderful young, she was like 24 years old. And she's only been on the program now for 6 months, but she was saying how in the last 6 months, she's been the happiest she's been all her life, right? And those of us who are doing the 12 steps and doing the program, we know this. So we're we're now beginning to understand what good days feel like, what peace and serenity feels like, and I'm having a good day. Because before we weren't. Oh, we were drunk, we were stupid, we were we were laughing and we were out that. Oh yeah, and then when people say, "How you doing?" We're like, "Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm good." Yeah, but deep down inside, we're like, we're fucking crying inside. We're sad. We're sad because no one understands what we're feeling inside, and we can't explain it to people. They don't get it. They can't. Yeah, I remember those days. You just you wear that mask. You wear it so well that at one point you even start to believe that mask. Wow. That's probably the most profound thing I've said on this show. Not on this show, like on this episode. I hope I said more profound things on the show, but it really gets me to think, yeah. We really begin to believe our mask. But every now and then there's a crack and it reaches way deep down in the profound interior of our soul. And we can't keep that. So we most likely run to the bottle. Or we run to the next happy hour, or we wait for that invitation for someone's birthday, or maybe it's an invite at a restaurant, or maybe we just stop because it's really hot. So we'll stop at the corner store, convenience store, and we'll pick up a beer or a 6-pack, you know. Yeah, that was usually what I would do. I would certainly do that. And then towards the end, I'd actually start to have leftover beers in the refrigerator, and even if it was a Monday, I'd be like, you know what, it's 7 o'clock at night. I'm just gonna it's gonna help me relax. How many times did we give that bullshit to ourselves? It's gonna help me relax, right? Especially you ladies out there. Which, by the way, the show is for everyone. I want to make that so abundantly clear. Especially now that I'm talking with someone who's looking into joining. She's afraid. She's afraid, and I completely understand her fear. Not that it's a real fear in the sense that what she says is going to happen, but in the sense that for her it's something that's real. So until she lives it, she can't understand it. So I understand that sense of, when you want to change, it's painful. It really is. And the mask that we kind of put in our face for others, eventually we feel it, and we want to remove it. We want to take it off. We want to say, you know what? I don't want this mask anymore. And once you take off the mask, and it is a painful process, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't want people to think, oh, I'm going to join a movement and life is going to be, yay, wow, I had a great time. Oh, geez, I met all these people, and I had no homework to do, and I didn't have to do the 12 steps. And I just go there and I eat, little homemade cookies and cupcakes that the lady who serves the coffee does. And oh my goodness, it's so much fun. No. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of courage, and it does, to walk into a meeting and say, I'm an alcoholic and I have a problem. But once you do it, it's amazing all the gifts you will get down the road, and very quickly too, for that matter. But at first, it's a lot of work. So going back to my original theme, once you've tasted all the good days that you finally have now, because you've removed the mask and you've faced who you are, and you've faced your skeletons, and you've let go of the past, and you've forgiven yourself, you've forgiven others, you've forgiven Donald Trump, you've forgiven, whatever, Legault, whoever it is you need to forgive, you start to have some really good days, some peaceful days. So that day where you're not at peace and you feel the resentment and you feel like just you're so irritated, you're like, what's going on? Did I lose the program? Did I lose something? And the truth is, no, you're just having one of those days. And when we talk about balance, which is actually going to be a theme coming up fairly soon, you understand, oh, and by allowing yourself to accept that quote unquote bad day, it almost makes it dissolve, like disappear, like very quickly too. I mean, that's how I see it. And that's exactly kind of what happened. So, yeah. So, keeping in mind that whole concept about, am I autistic or just an alcoholic? There's, in my own personal life, see, there's a pattern right there. I've repeated two words that were unnecessary, right? And is it the alcoholic that's obsessed with properly speaking on a talk show, talk, or is it, quote unquote, the autistic in me who's like, oh, no, you can't say that. I'm Sean Conery. You can say what you want as long as you have style. Oh, James. For those of you who may be a little younger, although they've had a few shows in the last few decades or whatever, Sean Connery, but he's true, he didn't play the James Bond. So James Bond, which was now done by, I get his name confused there. I can't imitate him. Craig Daniels or Daniel Craig. Anyway, one of those guys. Sean Connery was like the original James Bond. After that came Roger Moore and then Pierce Brosnan and so on and so forth. But Sean Connery was the first one. So every now and then when I do Sean Connery, and it popped up today when I was writing, I was like, Sean Connery. And I was like, oh yeah, James Bond. Oh yeah, James Bond. And it's like, oh, James. Right, people on TikTok, hey, I've been not ignoring you, but I clearly haven't been reading some of the comments that are out there. Welcome. Hey, Québec. That's Québécois. That's définitivement français. And I can't pronounce that. And hi, Ray, hi. That's a big hi. How are you? Doop 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 doop. I'm good. How are you? Well, thanks for following. I love that. You know what? Well, every time I do, I shouldn't say every time, but every time. I love the fact that you're keep tapping. Don't worry, keep tapping. Put more hearts up there. The more hearts, the more TikTok goes. Oh yeah, we gotta. Yes, when I do the show, when I'm in that present moment when I'm in the cockpit, right? When I'm in the studio, aka the cockpit, it's fun time for me. And so for that, I'm doing good. And if I'm sharing some of my weekly events, I had a day that was really off for me. Nothing major, just All right. You ask, and I'm going to tell the people also on YouTube because everyone wants to know. We're watching your podcast or we're listening to your podcast, so you might as well. All right. So I found out this week when I work with my client, I'm kind of in charge of logistics in terms of helping, with the orders, shipping them out. And so I'm also dealing with the inventory. And now it's been a few months now that we hired a new employee who's mostly a driver, or so he calls himself, the driver, the delivery guy. But he's also supposed to help out in the warehouse. And we have 2 warehouses. That's right, cruiseaway.ca. We're expanding. So, hey, make sure you go on that website, www.cruiseaway, C-R-U, crew, S-O-E, .ca, cruiseaway.ca, and get some stuff and put in the promo code SWD10, as in Serenity Wins discount 10. All right. I go to one of the warehouses, and I had given him the week before specific, I don't want to say orders, but specific tasks about helping to deal with the warehouse, because obviously you don't want it to become chaotic, right? So I go this week. He wasn't there, so I had the truck. I go there, and three tasks that I had asked him to do. And when he came back that day, he said, yeah, I took care of all of that. It's all good. And in reality, he didn't do it. And so that really set me off into my own spinning little mind. And I'm like, how dare he? And the respect and the lack of respect. And I like the guy. He's a decent guy. I can see that he's struggling with substances, but mis à part cela, there's like at one point you just grow up. You're like, you're almost in your 40s. There's no excuse anymore. Anyway, so that really set me off, and it really got me like, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to tell the owner, right? I'm going to tell him about it. So I said, hey, I need to talk with you. And then he looked at me and goes, is it about the warehouse? And I said, it's exactly about the warehouse. And he said, okay. And he didn't get back to me for about maybe 3-4 hours, like maybe not even 30 minutes before. And that really also set me off because like, I need to get this off my chest. I need to explain the situation because this has been somewhat of a reoccurring situation. And I'm like, I'm not telling the owner to fire the guy. I'm saying maybe we can get someone else to really help me with the warehouse and we can keep him as a specific driver, just drive around. Plus, he loves doing that. He loves delivering. He told me, he's like, I love delivering. I hate working in a warehouse. Oh, I don't hate working. Obviously, he says, I don't hate working, but I can tell. He doesn't care. He's like, he doesn't have that, hey, I'm here for you folks attitude, right? Which is probably something that, people born in their 70s are more aware of. I don't know. I don't want to put any, labels on anyone. But all of this brought me in a state of obsession over the situation. And it really, and then it wasn't just him. Then it's almost as if the rest of the day was like, just like a whole set. Instala ala. Oh, instala ala. All right. I don't know what that means. Instala ala. Instala ala. Okay. Someone's writing TikTok and they're writing instala ala. Okay. Instala ala is a good time. Oh, okay. Instala ala is a good time. Thank you very much. So all this to say that, and then other things that had nothing that to do with, that particular event brought me to just getting all worked up. And then all these obsessions were like coming in my head. And even when I had to do the literature rep, I went to a meeting that evening, and I'm in charge for the next few months of the literature to talk about it. And I literally opened up saying, I'm having a bad day, and can I, I just want you to know I didn't even feel like doing this tonight. And then, of course, I went into everything, and then somehow it all blended, and then we're like, oh, wow, that was great. I'm like, I don't know what I said, but I guess I spoke from the heart, as I do on this podcast. This is also something that I do. And that obsession, alcoholics realize that we have that. So, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. So, as I'm working on my discipline or quote unquote autism, you're not allowed to say that anymore. Well, my people, This one's out for you, Odie. Odie did a great one yesterday. And I said, you know what? I'm going to bring that guy on the podcast. And he's like, he didn't say anything, but I'm like, oh, brother, you're touching on the subject there. But you know what? It's human nature. We're supposed to poke, even they poke fun at them. Like, I'm an alcoholic and I poke fun of myself. I mean, if you're able to laugh about it, you're able to grow from it, right? So let's stop this whole world where we have to protect everyone all the time. You can't say that. Oh, that's appropriation. What do you mean, brother? You can't say something like that. That's not allowed, man. You too white. You like a white honky. You can't do that. And like, I can do whatever I want, man, because that's what that's all about. Right? This world we have where people are like creating these invisible walls, like, oh, this person's like that person's like this. It's like, no, it's insanity. Let's just be who we are and have fun. That's it. Anyway, that's how I see it. So I was able to finally get rid of that obsession at half an hour before I went to bed. And the only thing that went through my mind, ironically, was the sense of balance. And as it so happens, our second topic, wait a minute, I didn't even get it. Oh, you know what? I'm going to quickly go through a list and then we're going to go into the second topic. Because what I was trying to say is that as my discipline augments, I realize that certain words weaken the human spirit. Like it literally does weaken the human spirit. And I want to share them with you. I want to share at least 3 with you. And you can decide whether you want to use them or eliminate them from your vocabulary because you are what you speak, right? We are what we eat, we are what we listen, and we are what we speak. So the first word that I remove, and every now and then it slips in, I'm aware of this. I immediately catch it and I say, nope, you're going on your way out. So the word try. And you're like, try. You say, yeah, but there's nothing negative in there. You know, you have the word and you try and then it didn't work. And then that's it. You try. I try to do the hockey the way the Gretzky and the Patonneau and the flower, the la flower. I try to do the hockey like that. Yeah, well, you try, which means basically you did or you attempted and then it didn't work and then it's all right because you tried. And that's why I removed it, because it's kind of that word where it gives people advice you wish you knew at 20. Yeah. Someone on TikTok just said, is this advice? Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I'm going to give you some other words too, but definitely that word, if I would have understood at 20 how I have to remove the word try, because it really in the end means nothing. Oh, I'm going to try quitting to smoke. I'm going to try quitting alcohol. I'm going to try quitting sex. No, I'm not going to try. I'm nowhere near trying to quit. No, I like the good sex once in a while. Oh, remember Nelson and what was her name? I just do things. My wife, she just lays in bed, and I just, with the pitchfork in between us, I take care of my business. That's what I've been doing now for over 60 years. Oh, no, Thelma and Nelson. That's it. I almost forgot about Thelma. I should probably make a list of all my characters. I quit smoking weed today. Word, you said that. Wow, that's totally cool. Congratulations. You know what? I don't want to give you unsolicited advice, but if you did quit today, find a meeting in your area. Just do that. Sobriety, whether it's alcohol, I guess some people, they're like addicted to sex, but food, whatever, video games, sure, you can do it on your own. Truth be told, I stopped drinking alcohol on my own, like for about 3-4 weeks. I was like, okay, I got this. I got discipline, right? The reality is you need a supportive group. You need people around you. You need to change your habits. You need to change probably your friends. Yeah. Yeah. It sucks, but it's the truth. There's no way around it. Unless they really understand and respect the process that you're going through, and they're not going to try to lower you back down, like lobsters in a cage. The expression, you got lobsters, they get caught in that cage, and then one lobster's always kind of clawing. Like, you can't see me if you're not watching, but I'm doing the clawing sign there on, and then you're clawing your way, and then you see the opening, right? Because a lobster cage, the opening is always there, right? There's always an opening. There's always a way to get out of the cage. You're like, I'm clawing my way. And then some schmuck said, no, you can't go. And then he grabs with the claws and he pinches it and he drags you back down. And then you're like a bunch of lobsters. And then the fisherman's like, oh, that was a good catch today. Of course, it doesn't talk like a radio announcer, but There was a good catch today. Which lobster? And then the other lobsters look into the other lobsters and go, what the, why'd you do that? He's like, I couldn't let you get away, man. 'Cause then I'd be like the idiot down here while you were out there free. No, that's not going to happen. Humans, very sadly, are like that too. So when you do decide, for instance, to quit drinking, you may have people around you say, come on, man, have another drink. Come on, man, have another joint. Come on, man, have another pussy. Come on, man, have, whatever it is that they want you. Because we become the mirror of the things that they don't want to see in themselves. So, hey, I'm awesome. So happy for you, man. If you want to write to me on the side, feel free. Check out. I got a Serenity Wins on YouTube. So you want to check that out. There's a whole bunch of it because now we're live, right? Like, especially you on TikTok. But you go Serenity Wins on YouTube. You're going to see I got a whole bunch of episodes. Maybe there's something in there too for you to help you deal with that situation. My first strong suggestion, and it's not advice, it's a suggestion. Find meetings next to where you are. It doesn't matter if you're a weed smoking. The person I was sharing today talked about at one point she was just smoking pot. So she was like, I'm sober. And no, it doesn't matter. Just take the first step. Well, it's not like I knew your situation. I've been there, dude. I've been there. And whether it's pot, whether it's Jack Daniels, whether it's, first of all, sometimes you get into that, this is actually good scotch. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm drinking $100 bottles worth of scotch and whiskey. That's not an alcoholic. That's a connoisseur. I'm a connoisseur. Oh, no. I'm an épicurien. Je suis un épicurien. I am an Epicurean. It's what I am. I do not drink La Bat Light or La 50. I drink the La Fuerague. Oh, La Fuerague. Now there's a whiskey that, La Fuerague. Very grassy and nolly. Smoky, the smoky. It's very, with a cigar. That's La Fuerague. Highland Park. Baumor. The Baumor. I could name them all because I was there, dude. I understand. And I'll tell you honestly, no, I want you to lie. I'll tell you the idea of going back to those days. How drunk are you, brother? I used to get pretty fucking stupid smashed. I remember the last time I got stupid smashed in the village. I mean, I used to live in a small, I still live, I'm just like up north, but so at one point I fucking fell asleep on the stairs in front of the country bar. Like literally, like I was just like, I was just falling asleep. Like literally on the, if you know the Laurentides, if you ever go to not the new one. So obviously no one will be able to see, but there was that same establishment which burnt down and rebuilt. But before it was in a little wooden house. And so there was wooden stairs. And I don't know, at one point I got stupid drunk. And I think I remember I got stupid drunk because I was with an ex. Well, she had fallen off the wagon. She was a member. She had fallen off the wagon. And at that time I hadn't joined. So I didn't know. Anyway, so I got stupid drunk. And I remember I was asleep on the fucking stairs. Like literally, you have to walk 4 stairs to get inside. There was a little terrace. And then there's a door. It was like, what was it? Like a Thursday? It was stupid, just fucking stupid. Anyways, I got a whole bunch of stories like that I could share with you. I don't think I ever had blackouts. I don't think I've had blackouts in my life. I've had when I kind of don't remember the beginning, but then throughout the day, it all comes back to me. But to have a blackout, I don't think I've had any in my life. Well, I am sharing. I was fortunate enough. I never got into the white powdery stuff. I had someone in my 20s, in my early 20s, it came to my attention once. I was with friends and like, hey man, we got this. And I'm like, okay, whatever, And I remember thinking, I don't feel that much of a buzz. And then as a coincidence, maybe 3-4 weeks later, I meet this girl. Uh, yeah, I meet this girl, and she says, "Hey, well, she was a friend actually. Yeah, she was a friend, but we dated. So was she a friend there? Or was she a yeah? But we weren't dating anymore. Anyways, I meet her again at a club, and she says, "Oh, well, let's go back to my place." I'm like, "Oh, well, let me think about it." Yeah, duh. But I knew we weren't gonna have sex. I knew we were just chilling, and I obviously I didn't want to go back home alone, or whatever. And at one point, we're there. It's like probably what 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. She's like, "Oh, I have a little line. Do you want to take some?" And I'm like, "Well, I had just done it maybe about 3, 4 weeks earlier, and I was like, well, I didn't really feel anything, but yeah, why not?" And I remember I didn't really feel anything that time neither. I was like, well, we stayed up talking late, like it was like 7, 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning. So that I remember, but the actual buzz in itself, and from that moment on, I went like, you know what? Actually, that's not entirely true. If I'm being very authentic, at one point I realized, hey, how's it going? I'm trying to see. Lucas, yeah, welcome. So at one point, I do remember this. I was hanging out in this bar, and I had this crazy idea that I was not going to become a dealer. I was going to become an in between dealer. So basically, I would go to after hours, and then I would spot the people who wanted some extra powdery stuff. And I'd be like, I'll take care of you. And then I'd go see the dealer, and I'd say, hey, man, how much for some powdery stuff? And he'd be like, this much. I'm like, all right. And then I go back to the people, and I'd say, all right, I can get you some. And of course, I've given myself a little cut, right? I think I didn't get a chance to, yeah, the good old middleman. I don't even think I got a chance to actually purchase. I think I went to the bathroom prior to purchasing it. And as I'm peeing, literally, some fucking gorilla monster just plows me into the urinal. Bam! With like this fucking elbow in my fucking neck. And I'm like on this. Oh, for those of you on YouTube listening, this is the moment to actually look at the screen and see my face. I was like this. I was like, and he looked at me and he said it in French, I remember. And he said something like, toi là, tu vends pas de dope ici, tu décalisses, puis je veux plus te revoir la face ici à vendre de la coke. So basically he said, you motherfucker, get the fuck out of here. I never want to see your face here selling coke again. And then I remember just like with my fucking head like smashed against, it wasn't the urinal, right? I was just like, but it was on top. My head was on top of the urinal. And I was like, yeah, I get it. And I think that was it. I think that was the anchor that I needed to just get me off even the idea of powder somewhere in my life. That did it right there. Bam, right there and then. So I'm trying to remember if the powdery, and I say powder just because I know people are on TikTok, and TikTok has a tendency to go, this violates our emotions. But if I wasn't on TikTok and I was just on YouTube, I'd be like, yo, man, I got the powder and all that. All right. So I'm just trying to replay, because this was like many years ago, whether I met the girl before that event or was it after. It might have been probably before, because obviously if I would have done that powdery substance, then maybe part of my head would have been like, oh, I'm around it once in a while. But it could have also been that that happened, and then that I all this to say that I was fortunate enough. I didn't get into CA because But as far as drinking was concerned, I drank like everyone else, man. I drank, and we there's a generation where drinking was just normal. It was just part of life. So yeah, I was kind of like the middleman, and stopped that very quickly. And thank goodness, you know what? I don't ever know if I would I ever recognize that guy? I don't know if I'd ever recognize him. But I want to thank him. I want to thank whatever that gorilla was to say, thanks for doing that, man, because I was going down that path, right? Because imagine I would have done, I think, you know what? I think I did sell one packet. I think I bought one packet. Because, yeah, and at the time, I was just giving myself like $5 more, which is ridiculous, right? But just to me, it was just like, all right, I'm going to charge them and I'm just going to get like $5 more, So I think I delivered one packet. Yeah. And that's where he noticed. The other guy noticed. Or maybe the dealer said, hey, by the way, this guy is buying and then reselling. So you might want to take care of that. I'm going to take care of him. I wait till he goes in the bathroom. No one will see. And at the time, Batman was around. All right, Batman, you're not allowed to do that. Oh, yes, you are. Go ahead. And I'm Sean Conery, and I'm against drugs. So, yes, in this generation, thinking about replaced with smoking dope. Yeah, for sure, exactly. Thanks, Liz. I'm trying to read. It's very challenging to read with sunglasses. All right, so gratitude to that event that got me completely off that stuff. So, yeah. So just to go back to what you were saying, I do know what it's like because I am one of them. I am one of them. Oh my goodness, I'm at an hour and I'm already at an hour. All right. I'm going to close this episode for YouTube and then I'm going to go and start a new one. And for those of you live on TikTok, I'm going to keep the camera on. I'm not going to shut it down and start it over because who knows who I will get and who I will lose. So I didn't even get into my second topic. All right, so right away, we're going to get into the second topic on episode 16. But you know what? I'm okay with that because that means that I just accumulate more ideas for topics because I'm like, well, what if I don't have an idea for a topic and this and that? And so on episode 16, we're going to have a topic. All right, so let me just finish off closing the show as I normally do with I'm doing several things at the same time. I know. With a 12-step program. Oh, thanks for the rose. 13 times. Whoa. Bam. Thank you. Love that. Yeah, you want to send me gifts, you go right ahead and send me gifts. Because me and the Lord, we got something going on. We got something going on. So I know I said I'd end the show fairly quickly, but I want to do what everyone comes on YouTube to Serenity Wins for, which is really all about, right? It's about passing the message. It's not just about me talking on a microphone. So today I want to talk about step number 1, right? And this might be very much related to what you're going through, Biz. In the 12-step program, these are steps that were created about 91 years ago by Bob and Bill and Bob. And so the first step, right? We admitted we were powerless over our alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Now, you can replace the word alcohol for whatever you want. It could be sex, because it could be. I'm just saying some people, they're like, they need to seduce people constantly. I heard quite a few stories, shares, women saying, I was a slut when I was drunk, because that's how they felt that they had value, right? So, but it could be drugs, video games. Look, video games is a certain reality that's taken on right now. And, yeah, of course, just addictions, of course, but it could be whatever. And that our lives had become unmanageable. That's the very important thing. And, I hadn't realized I was an alcoholic at the time when I came to the program. But let me tell you, my life was completely unmanageable. Like, it was like, I was just like spinning my tail in circles. And I was like, I wasn't advancing. I was just like, so that's step number 1. And that's really important. And in French, on dit, nous avons avoué que nous avons perdu le contrôle de l'alcool et la maîtrise sur notre vie, right? So it's our life becomes unmanageable. You're so busy propping up all these lies in these situations. You need to get more alcohol or you need to get more drugs. And then you lie, you borrow money, you do this. Next thing you know, you're so drunk, you can't function well at work. So then you end up losing your job, but then you can't pay your rent. And then this and that happens. And then you're struggling. And then you're like making excuses to, then you borrow money from friends and you're like, can I borrow and this and that? And you feel, and then friends don't invite you because they're like, well, he's fucking always broke. Why should I invite him? And this and that and blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, but you're like in the middle of this, right? You're in the middle of this chaos and you think, hey, this is just how life is. But you know what? It really sucks. So then you gotta go and instead of getting a glass of water, you go and you get a glass of vodka. And then you drink the vodka and you're like, you know what? It's not so bad. And then by the time it's like your third vodka, you're like, you know what? I'm special. That's it. Because I'm special. It's fucking long. It's long, but you know what? Tomorrow, I don't know. Yeah, what do you call that when you the KV, the GV, the CD, no, the CV. I want to write a vitulum vitae of a licurulum. I got to write something, and it's gonna fucking give me a job. I'm gonna fucking pay the rent, then fucking bring out that fucking girl with the big tits there at the. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, bring her out. Yeah, that's everything I want to do. Yeah, but there were fucking double vodkas. Honestly, I drank everything. Like I was like, you want to try that? I'm like, yeah, I want to try that. One time, this is probably I don't remember how smashed I was. I was convinced I wasn't that smashed. There was a small bar in my neighborhood when I lived in the city. And they had a specialty of just making drinks. And one day I ended up there with another alcoholic. Of course, at the time I didn't know it was an alcoholic. I thought it was just a really cool guy like me. And we spent the whole night telling the barman just like 2 or 3 ingredients. And then the barman would like make these drinks. And they were always fucking amazing, right? I spent like, I don't know, $500 just on that night. And I remember I had one drink. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I was like, I got to patent this. This is my drink. And it was called the Morning After. And it was a great drink. Like obviously it's a drink, so I wouldn't drink it now. But and I don't want to like promote it or anything. Clearly not. But I called it the Morning After. And inside the drink there was actually a raw egg. So yeah. So honestly, I drank quite a bit. And then I had a really good friend who passed away, who was definitely an alcoholic. And I'm kind of sad when I think about it because I didn't have the tools back then to help him out. And I guess we kind of like helped each other out in our alcoholism, although he was really like, So I drank a lot with him too. But the challenge about being an alcoholic when you don't even know it is that you just think you're just drinking like everyone else, right? So you drink on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday afternoon, and Monday you don't drink, and Tuesday, but maybe Wednesday there'll be like an event, some sort of gathering or something, and then you start all over again. But you're thinking, I'm not an alcoholic because I'm just drinking socially, right? But the bottom line is the reason why we drink or smoke or do whatever that dependency is all about is because we're escaping. We're running away from something that's inside of us, and there's a saying in the fellowship: 15% alcohol or dependency, whatever you want to call it, 85% personality, and I believe that. So, number 1 in STEP program, we admitted we were powerless over our addiction and that our lives had become unmanageable. So, I want to finish off with the Serenity Prayer once more. Yeah, you're right. I'm always running away from something. Yeah, no, yeah, man, Look, I'm talking to someone very dear to me, and it's very difficult when when you finally come to the realization that you really are some form of addict, like you really are some form of, you're not happy where you are right now, right? Because that's what alcoholism and all that dependency is all about. It's about escaping that gnawing feeling inside of you that you're just not happy. Now, whether it stems from a demented childhood, a demented parent, a demented girlfriend, whatever, it's irrelevant. Honestly, it doesn't, we don't need to know. Often the person that's sitting in front that will share her story, I mean, they will go into some details, but truth be told, it's not about what started it. It's about what are you doing now? And this is what I'm doing now. I'm doing a podcast to talk to folks like you. And you know what? Thank you for being there. And if you get a chance, share. Don't just share the live. Share the YouTube Serenity Wins with a Z on YouTube. And if you get on Facebook, go to Serenity Wins with an S right now. But starting next week, going to be with a Z because I don't know very much about technicality. And Vishnu wasn't there. I know I wasn't there because I would have told you. You first write the name properly and then you go. But if you do that, then you have to wait 60 days. You know what that means? No. The servers must serve. Thank you very much, Vishnu, for that. I really appreciate that. So that's the reality of it. We are extremely deranged in our inner selves. We're sadness. You know, so often we'll hide that with anger because it's a lot easier to be angry. God damn it, cop gave me a ticket. God damn it, income tax. God damn it, Canada. God damn it, Trudeau. You know, yeah, I got a whole bunch of God damn it this, God damn it, that back, God damn it, all those letters I can't even pronounce. What God damn it, right? But we're just hiding the fact that probably somewhere deep down inside, there's some serious sadness. Brother, you need an Instagram. They allow about less censorship. I do have an Instagram. I don't know, first of all, how to do a live on Instagram. And I do have a Serenity Wins, but some I could, God damn it, some guy got Serenity Wins just with a Z. It's already taken. So I'm like Serenity Wins for something. I don't know. I'm on Serenity Wins. If you put in Serenity Wins with a Z, I think you put 2 Zs and it'll pop up. But yeah, I do have. I just don't know how to. And that's why I'm looking for a producer. So, you know, who knows? This week, I'm supposed to meet person, might produce, and we'll see. But thanks for sharing, by the way. I really appreciate that. All right, I'm almost done. I got it because I got another show to do after this. I got another episode. All right, so hold on a second. So first of all, I just want to say the Serenity Prayer one last time, I guess, for this episode. And you're all welcome to join. It goes a little something like this. Dear, and whatever your source, right? The identity, the energy, the whatever name, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is you feel inside. I personally call mine JD because a few months ago I was thinking, oh yeah, JD, and then I realized, oh, I can't spell, so I used the word J instead of G, but now I like JD. It's like, yo, JD, what up? Okay, so dear JD, give me the serenity to accept the things I can't change, the courage to change those that I can, and the wisdom to understand the difference between both. Very, very, very important. All right, and finally, one last time, if you want to do some really cool shopping and get 10% discount, and hey, it does help out our channel also, so go for it. And you could save $1,000, like you could save $100, like you could save $10. And there's something for all the budgets you want there. Put it in your bedroom, put it in the living room, put it in your kitchen, put it in your garden, put it in your car. You could put it in your car, whatever. There's a bunch of stuff in there. You go to cruiseaway.ca, right? Like Robinson Crusoe, CRUSOE.ca. And then you do your whole shopping list there online. You put that in a cart. And then at one point, it's going to ask you for promo code punch-in SWD10, and you'll get 10% discount. Finally, as I like to close the show, this show is not at all sponsored, associated, or affiliated by any official non-profit organizations such as Alcoholics Anonymous. Very important to let the people know this is just me talking like that. And finally, I just want to say, to close the show. Do it well for the self. Do it with respect for the all. Do it with the intention of humanity's love. Like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments. Hey, I had a great time on episode number 15. Stay tuned, and you will find out on episode 16 what did not go into episode 15. There we go. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Cheers.